Hey guys, welcome to Make Money with VAs class. So in today's class, I want to actually introduce you to Fresnel. And good evening, wherever you're at, or good morning. It is morning time over here. But in today's, basically, it's going to be when I introduce you Fresnel. He's my main man, project manager. And then we're going to kind of go over today is basically a lot of things I think that people have problems with is going to be not understanding the culture of their VA, if you will. What I mean by culture. So for example, a lot of times what happens is, maybe you're in the West, maybe you're in the UK, maybe you're in another place and you're used to things, for example, and I'll give you many different examples, especially if you're an American. I'm an American, so I can relate to a lot more people, but there are things that we'll go over that maybe you don't think is a big deal, or maybe you're like, why they keep calling me sir or ma'am every, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, and they just keep saying it. And there are people that actually don't like that. There are people that don't like being called sir and ma'am. So we're going to go over that sort of thing and things to be reminded about when you're hiring a Filipino VA. I only hire Filipino VAs. So that's the only thing I can relate to. But this can go across Pakistan or any other place that you hire VAs at. You're going to have kind of the same issues. So you need to apply this knowledge in the same way as well, right? Fresnel, turn on your camera, please, buddy. He's out in the other office, guys. So he's in the main office. Say, hey, Fresnel. Unmute yourself, buddy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pranel.
Let's see here. How old are you actually, Fresnel? I've never even asked Fresnel that. He's like in his 20s or something.
I'm currently 24, sir.
See, I figured mid 20s, something like that. I'll go over how I've went over it before, how I met Fresnel. Fresnel didn't come to me until probably 6 months into starting the agency. And thankfully he did. And I've already told you originally he was going to be a content writer, but basically we want to go over things to be remembered about Filipino VAs, right? So these are some things, and Fresnel's going to be able to explain more to you about it, but I want to give you like the Western American point of view. So I know a lot of you, how many of you all are actually, what country are you from before we get started? Tell me, what country are you from? And everyone, y'all feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself. You don't have to say, you don't have to chat it in the actual group. This is a smaller group, so I'll let y'all talk, okay? When it's a smaller group, it's much more containable than 50 or 60 people. So feel free to unmute if you want. Australia, UK, Australia, Australian, United States. So Australians, believe it or not, my main man, Graham, like I said, the first time he came in, I actually kicked him out because even Australians have a different sense of humor than Americans. Okay, so think of these things whenever, and now me and Graham are like, this. So in the Philippines, there are some things you need to consider. Okay, there are traits you need to consider, some besides the technical aspect of it, but the things that I would go through and tell you when you're looking to hire a VA that's in the Philippines, the number one thing is you need to know, what is their tech like? What's their tech like? Okay. What I mean, whether it's their tech, what type of computer do they have? What's the speed? Is it 8 gig, 16 gig, 32 gig? Is it four? Is it like, bare minimum? What type of webcam do they have? What type of internet do they have? What type of, gig are they getting every month? These are all things that you're going to need to know. Okay. Besides that, where are they located? But depending on where they're located will depend on how much you can get your VAs for. So for me, we are located in a province in Pagadian and Zamboanga del Sur. So we can get VAs for about $3 a VA. If you were to take those same and go into Manila, you're not going to get a VA for less than like $10 an hour or more. That's because they are fluent in English in Manila. Their cost of living is almost the same as in the States. Okay. So there are different factors. Now, where I'm at, they're really good. They're excellent VAs. Most of them come from the IT schools around me, and we'll get into that as well. But they don't speak fluent English. And when they don't speak fluent English, you're dealing with, where we're at also costs 1,000 times cheaper to live than in Manila. I can get a place to stay or a hotel over here for like $20. Going to Manila, you're going to pay, $80-$90 for a decent hotel. The food over here is cheaper, electric over here is cheaper, internet's cheaper, everything's cheaper. So that's why you're going to be able to get a VA cheaper. There are 3 different areas in the Philippines. All right. You have I'm going to butcher it, but Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We're in Mindanao. The Visayas, Mindanao, where we're at, the VAs in this area are not too many. They're usually in Davao, Cagayan de Oro. They're not usually located where we're at, mainly because most of the times people leave where we're at to go work abroad or to go work in Manila or one of the mainlands, because we live in a very poor, if you will, poor area than if you go into Manila. The people that have money here are usually in government or in business. And most of the time people like myself move to the province because, I've lived in the city all my life. I'm sick of the city. So, but that being said, they're poor and they depend on, if you're depending on their internet speed, you're going to have to be aware of that, because their internet speed's not going to be as good unless they live in the city. Like I live in the countryside, but if you go in the city's internet's better. The only reason I have extremely good internet is I paid the money. I pay $400 plus a month just for my internet, because I have a huge ass tower that goes up 40 feet off of the house. So the thing's probably 100 something feet in the air. That being said, now then the next place you have is the Visayas. With the Visayas, you would say is like northern Philippines, right, Fernell?
It's the middle part, sir.
So
It's the middle part.
central. So you got Visayas. This area, they're decent, they're calm, they're well-mannered, hospital. A lot of them know English. They're fluent usually because they're more cultured towards Western culture. You have a lot of tourism in Cebu, especially Cebu, right? The rest is rural, just like where we're at. They have unstable internet connection. Luzon, which is, if you will, Manila, Makati, Quezon City, a lot of those areas are urban. They're more westernized. Like, for instance, just no kidding aside, if I walk into Manila, white man, it's like no big deal. If I go into Pagadian or Davao or, someplace where there's not a whole lot of us, they're like, oh my God, he's so handsome. And they go after you and they want to know everything about you and everything else. It's just the way it is, because that's the same way, but Manila, Makati is more westernized. They're used to seeing people like me in Manila. They're used to seeing Chinese, Japanese, Australians, UK people, everybody. It's nothing different about you. But come to where where we live at, and they literally will watch you grocery shopping because they want to see what you're getting. What does this guy eat? They want to know everything about you. They're curious. Okay. But the bad thing about people in Manila, Makati stuff, yes, they have better internet. Yes, they are fluent in English. Yes, they're better VAs a lot of times. However, they have higher rates. So I have a call center in Manila, and the call center is $12 to $14 an hour. Okay. For $12 to $14 an hour, I could hire about 4 VAs here. Okay. So it's a lot more expensive, but I needed someone that's fluent and female on a sales call. In the Visayas, people are not very demanding as much as term as rates, and Mindanao, where we're at, it's the same way. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes, we're talking about US dollar. So we're talking about US dollar. Any questions besides that one from Bambi? And I know the Australian dollar, it's even the US dollar is a little bit more expensive because the Australian, if you're talking $3 US, I believe it's around 4 or 5 in Australia. Traits, when it comes to Filipinos, you have to get used to a lot. Yeah, 30% higher, Bambi. You have to get used to a lot of things. There are a lot of things that even for me still kind of, it doesn't aggravate me, but it's like, you know, I mean, I'm American, so we do things a different way. For instance, I give you, for instance, Brian's got a girlfriend. Her father or grandfather, was it for now? Grandfather?
Grandfather, sir.
Yeah, grandfather of his not fiance, girlfriend passed away or died, and he needed to take off because his girlfriend's grandfather passed away. In American culture, it's like, I don't give a shit about that. It's her grandfather, and you're her, you know, it's not like she's your fiance or nothing. But in Filipino culture, because everything is family orientated and unit wise like that, and out of respect, he had to take off and go handle and help people. Filipinos also tend to be very shy. Okay, when you're trying to communicate with them, they will respond as minimum as possible. There's only, out of our entire team, I can probably really talk to probably 10 of us that I can actually communicate with. Really, the rest of them, no matter what I've said to them, they're still shy. I've told them open door policy. If you want to talk to me or you need help, just let me know. And then they generally go to my wife and talk to her. You know, it's just part of the culture. The side effects of that is to help on reducing their shyness. You need to show them that you actually care. Okay, that you actually care. Out of all my VAs, I've only had to let go of one of them. So you got to let them know that you're approachable, that you actually give a shit. You know, a lot of times I've had people say, well, I've had to fire a VA, hired a VA, fired them, hired another one, fired them, hired another one, fired them. And I get to the point I actually will tell you, if you ask me, well, then maybe the problem's not the VA, maybe it's actually you. Because a lot of times what people are expecting when they get a VA is they want a Swiss Army knife or a jack of all trades. And then in that case, you know, it's just, you're expecting way more than you should. Yes, Patrick, I'll show you. I mean, the VA agreement, stuff like that. Everything that I do with my VAs over here is verbal. I don't actually do any written contracts with me. That would be more Becca's style. Okay, Becca's style is she's a headhunter. So when she actually gets, when she's actually getting a percentage, et cetera, et cetera. When I hire someone, I'm paying them what I'm paying them. So the Philippines has a minimum wage for full-time employees and an employee. It depends on if they're an actual employee. The VA is not an employee. Health insurance. I provide health insurance to every single one of my boys. So I pay for that every month as long as they get it signed up. Speaking of which, the ones that haven't signed up for now still need to sign up. Number two, and this one actually kind of shocked me when I was going over it, is Filipinos are sarcastic. They actually love memes. They love memes and, like, you know, sarcasm and trolling people and stuff like that. I'm not saying that they would do that to you. I'm just saying beware. They actually do have a sense of humor. Most of the time, the women are very conservative. What I mean by conservative, they may not even know what you're trying to imply without you just flat out saying it. You know, with you just being direct. If you try to beat around the bush with a Filipino, beat around the bush means you're not getting to your point. Okay. if you don't go direct to the point, they may not understand what you're trying to say. A lot of the issues has to do with communication. Sean, it depends on where they're at, I'm pretty sure. So I'd need to know where your VAs are located to tell you about the health insurance. But if you can let me know, I'll do some more research for you depending on where you're at. They're very traditional. Filipinos are very traditional, meaning they have a lot of holidays. So we have two types of cultures usually over here. We got Christians, which can fall into Protestant or Catholic, mainly Catholic. And then we have Muslims. So, and then what's funny about it all is the Muslims will kind of keep the Catholic and Christian traditions, and the Christian Catholics will kind of keep the Muslim traditions. So that means if it's a Muslim holiday, the Christians will take advantage of that and take that off as well. And the Muslims will do the same thing. So it's kind of interesting. But then we also have, which also is interesting and tell you things about it, we have what's called a barangay. A barangay is like the community in which I live. We'll have festivals, and then also it's very, if you will, community oriented, where if you have problems, you try to solve things in the city, in your province or in your barangay, not trying to go outside of it. We do Phil Health. So Phil Health. I don't do the other benefits because they're all VAs. It's just out of me saying, hey, I'm going to help you guys out, because I don't like my team being sick and stuff like that. I'd rather them be healthy. And if they're healthy, then we can work hard and you can go places. If we're sick and we not, and then we can, obviously can't work, and then we can't help people, and then things get, falling behind and everything else. So tradition, so they can be very sensitive. So Filipino people are extremely sensitive. They can be humored or make fun at, but you can also offend them pretty easily. You should be very careful with your words, because they may not even know that, hey, you're joking. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to take some time. If you're this type of person, which is what I am, you're going to have to take the time to get to know them and say, okay, I know with like Fernell, I can joke around with them. Or Brian's my man. He knows I love him. He's overweight like me, but I pick on him, he picks on me, type of a deal, and it's no big deal. But there are other people, you do that, they might jump on you and be like, what are you trying to say? I'm fat? They may wind up taking offense to it, if you will. So you need to choose your words wisely until you actually get to know the people. But this is common sense, and these are things a lot of times I think should be common sense, just with dealing with people in general and social skills. And Sean, so they're in Tagum City, Davao del Norte. They would still be on Phil Health, correct, for now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so still Phil Health for Sean, and depending on their income level, you can get Phil Health, and depending on that, they generally have like a sliding scale, what we call a sliding scale in the States. Depending on how much they make will depend on how much you have to pay for their Phil Health. Basically, they go and apply, and once they apply, they'll tell you how much it's going to cost them a month, and then you cover that. That's what I do. I just think taking care of the people around you, I know it makes people loyal to you when you actually show you care, when you help them out if they have a need and they need to pay a bill, or maybe, I'm not saying they come to you every day and say, hey, can you give me, $200 or something like that. I'm just saying, if they need help, you think about people besides just thinking about yourself. Okay. Filipinos can be workaholics. I've literally had to throw my boys out before. I used to have to, when I let them stay the night, I'd have to tell them, say, listen, y'all got to shut up. My Lola or my mother-in-law is trying to sleep, because they'll like to carry on and work and everything else. Especially, and this is the biggest part, especially if they see that you care about them. If they don't see that you care about them, they're not going to want to be working for you as much as possible. If you need an emergency, they're not going to want to work for you, because you've been an a-hole the whole time. Now, if you actually care about them and show them that you care and do that sort of thing, then you would find that they are going to be more of a workaholic and help you out as much as possible. Sean, no, when I say 500 to 600 per month,
That's 350 a month, sir.
yeah, I'm not talking about 500, 600, that's pesos.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not talking about dollar.
In short, sir, it's gonna be around $7 to $9 per month.
Yeah, it's about $9 a month. It's nothing. No, I pay my boys. I just make sure they go to the Phil Health, they sign up, they give it to me, and I pay it. Okay. And I have Gcash to do it. So Gcash is a form of payment method over here. They're very hospitable. They like to say, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. You'll hear it all the time. Even if you listen to Fernell, how he talks, even it's always yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. No matter what I've told them, they'll still say, sir. And I've gotten to the point where I call them sir, or in Filipino, we'll say yes po or sige po. And it just means it's another way of saying, sir. That's all it is showing respect. Now, there are some people, and I understand this, that cannot stand the word sir, don't like it, don't want to be told sir, ma'am, especially women. To me, women tend to be more sensitive towards it. You're just going to have to communicate you to your VA. Say, listen, for example, hey, call me Bambi. Don't call me ma'am. I'm tired of this ma'am stuff. But that's just the way they are. Filipinos tend to be very religious, especially where I'm at. Where we're at is Mindanao or Zamboanga del Sur, very religious. Either Catholic or Muslims tends to be pretty religious. You got to think about, for example, in the Philippines, divorce is still illegal. Okay. Unless you have money, then if you have money, there are ways around it, and you hire a good lawyer and do an annulment and all types of, just different things. But they are very religious. So if they got 20 holidays a year, they're going to want 20 holidays a year. My boys, luckily, for the most part, are all in 20s. They tend not to give a crap about the holidays, or stuff like that. So work status. So they have limited resources. They tend to have financial issues, thus resulting in having limited resources. In other words, they don't have money, so they're not going to be, if their computer breaks, they're not going to be able to go buy a brand new one. It's just not going to happen. They don't have $500-600 sitting around half the time just to go buy a new computer. And for instance, if you're living where I'm at, the average computer costs about $600. Electronics is more expensive. It's probably one of the most expensive things where we're at. You'll have issues from time to time with these type of people, as they'll be able to struggle to even be able to work. Okay. Now then you got working students. I'm giving you all the different variations. Working students are people like, they pretty much work when they're free. They go to school, and then they work whenever they're free. This is because most of their classes are consumed from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then they'll work in the evening. Okay. Students can work 1 to 4 hours a day. If you need more than that, let's say social media posting, GMB posting, stuff like that, you got to also think our night times are also your day times if you're in the US. Then you have those that work from home. These are better quality people, I would say, to actually hire. They're ones that are already working from home. They tend to have the most time. They work most of the day. They work regular hours. I can get a calendar of your holidays, of the holidays, Scott. Okay. Filipinos that work from home tend to have an average, not too low, not too high of a pay rate. Okay. Mainly because they're already used to it, but they also have bills. They have the internet. They have their computer. They have good stuff that they can use to work online and have that freedom to do so. The last but not least is you have the well-off. Well-off Filipinos are ones that have everything you need. They have fastest internet, fastest computers, fastest everything. What you need to expect from these type of people, though, you're going to pay $12 to $14 an hour or more. Yes, they're reliable. Yes, their English is fluent. Yes, their communication skills are fluent, but you're going to pay what I will pay for 3 VAs at minimum. 3 to 4 VAs is what I could hire at what you're going to pay one person an hour. You know, a better reason for me as well, you hire people that are in a province like we're at, you're providing income from, you know, instead of one person, 4 people. So you tend to help out a lot more people. Like I know some of y'all don't understand this, but like y'all eat beef or chicken, we can slaughter a cow and feed the whole village, you know, so, or bearing guy. There are 4 types of internet providers here that you got to be aware of. We have Globe. It's used around for everybody around the entire, you know, country. It's specifically for people that are in unstable rural areas. That's what I originally started with. And then we upgraded to PLDT. This is for people all over the country, but it's once again for people in unstable rural areas, even when it's raining and in the city. Then you have Converge. Converge is people around Luzon. Then you have DC Tech, which is people around Mindanao, but it's not entirely spread out. I actually have PLDT, and I'm looking at getting Globe Fiber as well. That way I always have a backup. Like in my case, I have a generator. It's not installed completely yet. That's why we're going to be out of power tomorrow. That being said, if you're going to be in the class tomorrow with Patrick, I'll be sending out a post with an actual link because Patrick will still be doing the class. Now, let me look at some of these questions real quick. And I'm going to have Fernell talk to y'all some so he can answer some of your questions. I pay directly to Phil Health, not to the, you know, not to the employees. So a calendar of their holidays. What I'll do is I'll post that in the back end. I mean, we have a lot. When I say a lot, I'll get that for you, Philippines. Holidays. How many would you say for now? I mean, it's a lot. It's
too many, sir, especially on each of the locations. It has different holidays.
Yeah, because then you'll have regular, like your national holidays are like this: New Year's Day, Lunar New Year, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Batan Day, Labor Day, Eid al-Fitr, Philippines Independence Day, Eid al-Adha, Bonifacio Day, National Heroes Day, Feast of the Immaculate Conception, Christmas, and Resolve. That's just the national holidays. Then in each area, depending on, you know, the religions and stuff, you'll have a lot more holidays than that. So you have a lot of holidays, but the national holidays are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So not that many, but then when you get in the area, you'll have a lot more than that. So we're going to try to get that over to you as well. You're welcome, Scott. John, such great info. Thanks. Question for, like, is there a difference to the pace of work? Okay, well, message that on, that's for not for the VA class. So unless you're talking, I think I know what you mean. So the pace of work for, let's say, an advanced location page can take a week or 2. An advanced GStack can take a week versus a basic GStack could take a day, you know, basic location page a day. Different things like that. You'd be better off, you know, just paying us to do the location page, advanced location page or advanced GStack, because you're going to pay more if you actually hire the VA $300 than, you know, you're going to want paying 2 weeks worth just to do the advanced location pages. Patrick, could be being very, very nice to hear what we do with verbal agreements with my VAs. So with my VAs, what I normally do, for now, we'll bring them in. We hire all of our VAs pretty much from an IT institute. We have colleges around here that are IT institutes. IT institute means they're going to have background in web design, sometimes PHP, HTML, JavaScript, engineering. Several of our guys are engineers or went to school for engineering. Then I have other ones that didn't even know anything about computers or web design, and now they're some of the top web designers, SEO people, because I've trained them. Then other ones struggle, and I still got to help them out and stuff like that. We keep an eye on those, but those are probably four or five, maybe if that. But what happens is, for instance, a brand new person comes in, I have a conversation with them, so does Fernell, in which I tell them, okay, for example, I'm going to see where they're good at. Are they a good fit with SEO, GMB? Are they a good fit with web design? I want to find out what they actually like to do. Okay. Because if you like to do something, then you're going to be effective at doing it. You're going to like doing it, and you're going to be passionate about doing it, and you're going to work fast. Now, once they come in and we let them know that, the next thing is I tell them, say, okay, you're going to be in training for the next 2 weeks for free. They're going to be training for 2 weeks for free. In other words, the only thing I'm going to pay them is I'm going to pay them to take care of their food and stuff like that, way here and food, and that's it. Once I see that they're good and they picking it up, and I can see that they actually know what they're doing, then we'll start them out at a base pay. Once they're at that base pay, and this is the same thing I tell them at the time, once you're at that base pay, within 30 days, I give you a raise. As you keep on taking on more skills and I see that you're doing better and better, your pay goes up. If you just kind of like, hey, I just come in here and I just do GMB posts and I have no desire to learn anything new, then cool, you'll just stay where you're at. But my head of my departments always make more money than the regular guys. Greg, thank you for that, Greg. I look forward, and I know Fernell, basically you'll be dealing, anytime you hire a VA with us, you're dealing directly with Fernell, not with me. Okay, Fernell gets the VA, sets them up for everybody, and he has his communication process and everything. Because I basically had lots of people wanting us to do a VA agency, and I was like, no, I don't want to do a VA agency. But then we brought it up to Fernell, and Fernell was like, well, I could do it. So, and within the first 2 weeks, I think we got 13 new clients or so that won VAs, something like that. So, Bambi, is there an hourly quota with the white label packages? I'm torn, no, there's no quota. And I tell people just the same way I tell, it's not being rude or nothing, but when you're buying SEO, you're saying, I'm paying for you to get me rankings. I could take me 5 minutes, or it could take me 5 hours, or it could take me 50 hours, or it could take me 200 hours. But you're paying for me to actually do all these things add up. For instance, if you were to take, just say, for example, advanced location pages and the advanced G stack, and you add all that stuff up, it could add up very rapidly. For instance, the advanced location pages, that alone takes 40 hours, period. Let's see. Same thing with advanced G stack. I would tell you, Bambi, try out the VA if you want to, or try out the white label SEO first. It's up to you. Patrick, what is the best way to pay VAs from me to the USA? So you're in the USA and you want to pay them, you can set up, there's Payoneer, and then there's also PayMaya, and then there's about 5 or 6 different ones I can tell you to use. Western Union is not the best way. You can, but it's just not the best way. The problem I had when I was here was getting people to actually pay me directly. So I had to do it through Payoneer, and now we do it through Stripe, connected to Payoneer. But Sean, yeah, feel free to unmute and ask questions. Anybody that has questions, you feel free to unmute. Just make sure you raise your hand, and then I will go ahead and address you. Okay, but raise your hand and I will address you. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, thanks, William.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've got 3 VAs right now, 2 that do content writing for me, and 1 that does do the website design for us.
Mhm.
And so the 2 that does content writing, they're actually brothers, and so I very very respectful, very good guys. They're young. And so I wasn't, when you said about the religious holidays and like that, like in the United States, right, we wouldn't ask for
Yeah.
what kind of religious holidays, right? So is it okay to ask that, number one? And number two, we basically right now, I mean, they've been with me for about 6 months and they just take the US holidays. So
Well, I mean,
should I?
it's like our guys. I mean, we take off like Christmas, Thanksgiving, national holidays, but even then sometimes the guys want to work because they like money. I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, but
And
you
do you?
may get other ones that are like, no, I want to take off because, Good Friday or Monday, Thursday.
Yeah.
So
I assume you don't pay them for the
no, I
holidays.
don't. I don't.
Gotcha. Okay. The next question is, I pay my guys through PayPal. It feels like the fees are a little high.
Yeah.
And I was looking at something else that could be faster, like Wise is one that I've heard. And
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll give you all a list because there's a bunch of them that you can actually use. Give me 1 second, and I'll put this in the back end. Virtual. Pull this up for you. Hey, Maya is a good one. Virtual systems.
Payoneer, right?
Yeah, Payoneer's the main one that I'm going to suggest you.
Okay.
But that's the main one that I would wind up suggesting. People also use PayPal, but I just don't suggest PayPal. The other one is PayMaya. Then if you were able to, and I don't think you can do Gcash in the States, but give me 1 second and I'll pull it for you because there's a bunch of them.
Okay.
So give me 1 second, I'll go to it. But there is PayMaya, there's Gcash, there is Payoneer, and let me pull up this last one. We can't do bank. You can do bank transfers, bank wires. There's a bunch of different ways of doing it, but I stick with Payoneer. Payoneer to me has been like a lifesaver to me. So that's what I'm usually going to tell people to go to, and setting up an account is fairly easy.
Yeah, I guess. So the way I do it is I have my guys send me basically a PayPal invoice and I just pay that. But I think the fees are probably higher than Payoneer on PayPal, right?
I would never use PayPal, mainly because they'll screw you over a lot of times. Let's say, for instance, if your VA, was to challenge, I'm not saying this could happen, but it can happen, but VA goes to challenge a payment or something, and they could give the VA the money, even though they didn't do the work or whatever. There's all types of like Payoneer. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up Payoneer for you. Oh, let's see here. So you got Square, Skrill, Remitly is a good one. Paymongo's another one. Payoneer's the main one that I'm going to use. Wise is another one.
Okay.
So Skrill is another one, but Payoneer is really, really good. Payoneer is the main one I use. If you guys haven't seen it spelled PAYONEER.com, and let's say you have a US bank account, you can simply do a bank transfer. It's not hard at all, or you can attach it to an actual credit card. When I first got started, I had to invoice every single person, even when I was running the course, $97 or $10 or $20. That's how I was having to do it. I did that for about 5 months, and then finally figured out a way to connect my Stripe to my Payoneer. And then now I can take everything that way. So
Okay, another question, and then can you explain more about your VA program, or do you basically assist us in helping find some qualified VAs, or how does that work?
No, with the VA program, we'll talk about it on probably next week, but basically is you're hiring us. When I say us, I mean you're hiring us to have one of our VAs. I have a VA, we train them. You may say, I need someone just to do, let's say, content or just to do GMB posts. Then we find them, we bring them in, we train them according to the way I do things, according to my SOPs, because that's generally why people are coming to us. And then they do the GMB posts and stuff according to our SOPs. Now, if you
Gotcha.
want someone to do it according to your SOPs, you would just have to provide your SOPs.
And what's the cost for that?
It's $300 for 40 hours.
Gotcha.
All right, Greg, go ahead, buddy.
All right. Well, he just answered. He has answered part of my question there just now. That's good. No, that's good. Thank you. No, hey, I appreciate everything you're doing here. This is pretty good timing. I've been taking your class, and you're putting out so much information, which I'm just going to let you guys do it. You know, GMB, that's a lot of work, and I'd rather just pay you guys. I seen you put a post up today, and it had a link in there for the white label service, but then the second post, it didn't have a link. So I just need to know where. I just need to
the white label. You just go to rankfortress.com, and that's where everything's at.
Okay.
And if you look at, because we changed the original, and I'll show you the original, if you will, website didn't have this, and we've actually updated it. And I'll show you guys real quick. Give me 1 second. So this is the new landing page, if you will. All right. And if you come down to here, you'll see all these different website optimization or SEO packages. Most people are saying, was this all that comes with this? No. If you actually click on the package or shop now, you'll see what all comes with them. The biggest difference between this is basically our standard $800 a month package. You know, if you're an agency already with us, you'll still get this. Now, if you want more content, more press releases, more everything, our embed network for YouTube videos, our Google site network with Holly. If you want all these other bells and whistles, then yeah, it's going to be the $1,500 a month package.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then now if you want the VA service, if you go under SEO services right here, and then you scroll down, I believe it's on page 2, right here is where our VAs are. They're non-voice VAs. You need data entry, data scraping, backlinking, citations, web design, on page, whatever you want. That's what this is for. This is for 40 hours only. You're paying for one slot, you know, 40 hours per month. If you want 160, you would order 4 orders is all.
All right. Good. That was my question for you. Just one other here, and I know it's as much as you want to charge, but typically, because all I'm going to do is hand it off to you, I'm going to sell it, get the customer, and I trust you enough now. I know you guys know what the heck you're talking about. What does somebody typically mark this up? Do you just double it, or
no, like SEO?
Yeah.
If you like if you're paying me $500 and us $500 for SEO, I can tell you when I was in the States, SEO with no Google My Business was like at least $1,200 a month. So go ahead and slap on Google My Business, and you're going to pay around $1,500-$1,600 minimum. Web 20 Ranker and Matt Boley over at White Label SEO Firm, they'll say that it's okay. Well, it's this amount and it's $300 or $400 to get it. But the thing is, when you add in the backlinks and you add in the content and you go from 1 or 2 posts a week to 5 posts a week, you're paying around $2,000 to $3,000 a month for them to white label it. So that's not even retail. I know guys that sell it for around $6,000 a month. Okay. I have guys that go, hey guy, you know, hey William, I hate to tell you this, you know how much I sold that website for? And then they tell me, and it's like, I don't care, dude, as long as you're paying me. You
Right.
know, you're paying my team. I could care less if you make 10 grand on the site you paid me $400 for. You know, you got to understand where we live at. Money goes a lot further than if I was in the States, you know, so, but,
All right.
go tell them, please, for now.
It's okay.
There's the weekend and they're like, they think they can just go ahead and start grinding up there. And it's like, no, 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 stop.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around it. So that's some good insight right there. Because again, I just want to I got a lot of other stuff I'm doing right now too. I got some things that I'm working on, and I don't want to create myself another job. I just want to, again, you know, I bought in your program. I own your stuff every day and all the classes, and I know you guys know what the heck you're doing over there. I trust what you're doing. So I just need to know my markup and, you know, what I need to sell it for, what's going to cost me. You already showed me the site now, and, you know, kind of what I need to mark it up at. Thanks.
So they're going, that's the biggest thing is a lot of people will go, well, I can just hire a VA and do all this. Well, go ahead and do it. And then we'll be waiting for you in about 30 days, because what happens is you'll still have a communication error issue, or they don't understand what you're trying to say. It happens. My own wife, who speaks their own language, and Fernell can attest to this, that sometimes she'll say something and it will go in one ear and out the other. You know, and she speaks their language. I'm in the process of still trying to do so as well. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what's the average rate in Elgin City? Where's Elgin City? Where's that at for now? Allegan? Okay, give me 1 second.
Iligan, sir, it's in Lanao del Norte, 4 hours away from
Okay.
here.
So it's about the same. You want a white label GMB? Yep. Is it appropriate for me to ask what you pay VAs at different levels? So when they're basic coming in, the VA where I'm at in this area, give me 1 second. What's the base pay? Is it 2,500?
Base pay, sir, it's gonna be 500.
Yeah.
510.
Yeah, it's basically $10 a day. When you're first getting started, that's only $50 a week. You know, $50 a week, you're talking $200 a month. And everybody, when you start hearing these numbers, they'll be like, are you kidding me? And no, I'm not. So then you get up to, let's say, 6,000 pesos a week, and that equals 24,000 pesos a month. That equals, you know, almost $500 a month. And then you got others that's $1,000 a month. That being said, you got to understand, for example, this is where most people don't understand. If you're an engineer over here, you're going to make about $500 a month. If you're a doctor, not just any doctor, a heart doctor over here, you'll make around $1,200 US dollar a month. So over here, a nurse makes around $500 a month. So you got to understand, my top boys make almost as much as a doctor. And they get to sit in AC, and we get to have food together, and we get to go places together and do shit together. And we got a pool together, and we treat like family. If they have a problem, they come to me and say, hey, sir, can I borrow 20,000 pesos? Sure. Hey, sir, I need to buy a laptop. Yeah, I'll buy it for you. I do other things. I don't just go, oh, well, I'm just going to pay them $50 a fucking week and just, you know, ride it out as much as you can. You know, now, mind you, you know, we have, then the other things we'll do, for example, which most people are not going to be in the position to do, is I'll pay them like I paid Brian. I think we sold 40 slots. And out of this 40 slots, let's say I made $4,000 in sales for the web design course. Brian made 50% of that. I gave Brian $2,000 for 5 hours of work. because I'm trying to help these guys. And then I also give them books on learning skills and stuff like that. So there are many different things that I'm doing now. To go to Manila, you're never going to get on that sheet ever. You might as well hire someone in the States if that's what you're looking at. Let me look. Adan, what do you suggest when we feel that Rank Fortress is not able to understand English? Well, it should never get to that point. You should actually contact Fresnel directly. Okay. So if you're in communication with Fresnel and talking to him, that should never even occur. Then again, I would also say, depending on where you're located at it, like I could tell you this, I don't understand UK people for the most part. Me and UK people really, not defend anybody, but I really don't get along with United Kingdom people on any level. I love them, but no, I don't, Australian people, cool. US people, cool. Everybody I don't know what it is, but it's like, no. So, and it may be you have a different way of saying things a lot of times. I mean, how many times do you guys or girls talk to your husband and wife and y'all think y'all got everything? She understands what I said. You find out she didn't understand a damn word you just said, So if you think they're going to be able to understand you better than your husband or wife, you got another thing coming. Patrick, why is Western Union not the best way? Because if you start making more money, they're going to start eyeballing your ass. And once they start eyeballing you, they're going to be like, why are you getting it? And literally, it used to happen to me. Who are you getting this money from? What is it for? Who is it providing it for you? What do you need it for? Every time you go in there, they ask you like the freaking FBI, just give me my money. You already got my ID. Give me my money. World Remit's a good one for transferring money. Glenn, I use Stripe, but I use Stripe because I've actually figured out a way to connect Stripe to Payoneer. You open up a Payoneer account, they give you a US banking account. So if I have a Payoneer account, I could literally give you my Stripe. I can give them my US bank account tied in. So when I'm paid via Stripe, it goes into my Payoneer account. And my Payoneer account is attached to my Philippine bank account. Payoneer is cool. That's correct. Australian Remitly wouldn't allow me to pay a VA in the Philippines. They rang me. And when I said it's for VA, they closed me down. Yeah, that's crazy. I've never had that problem. Many people in the Philippines don't have a bank account. Well, here's the thing with me is I go either if you're going to work for me, you have a GCash or you go get a bank account. To get a bank account, you just need 2 forms of ID. Correct for now? 2 forms.
Yes, sir.
If you have for a bank account, you just need 2 forms of ID. If you have that, you'll be able to get a bank account. One thing they may ask for is if you come in there and say, hey, I want to deposit 5,000, 10,000 pesos, they're going to ask you, well, who's paying you? I want a letter from your employer because they want to prove it's not fraud. Okay,
Also,
so that is one thing. Go ahead for now.
Also, sir, there's also another method. It's GCash linking to Payoneer so that if ever that they'll be paying their VAs, they can just send it over.
Payoneer to me is the best route. That's what I've seen. Matthew Moses, hey, buddy. I want to see the day they all have Harleys and go Sons of SEO. There's a TV program called Sons of Anarchy in the States. They somehow everybody have leather jackets called Sons of SEO. Brian bought himself a new motorcycle. He didn't have that when he first started here, and that's a badass expensive motorcycle. And then JM bought a motorcycle and someone else bought a motorcycle. Probably about 5 or 6 of them been buy motorcycles since starting with me. And I've helped every single one of them do that. So that's what it's about, is helping other people. Rokob, are you tracking their time? No, I don't track their time. Do I track my VA's time? No. Now, if they're working for y'all Vernell's tracking it. If you're talking about my VAs, no. We track it, but they have a time clock. They punch in, they punch out. So is it being tracked? Yes. But am I going to micromanage people? No, I don't micromanage my boys. I know how much work our team puts out. So I know how many clients we deal with. So it's a matter of that. But they do have clock in and clock out. They used to be paid every week. Now they're paid bi-weekly. They're supposed to put in 40 hours a week. If they don't put in 40 hours a week, they don't get paid for 40 hours. If they want to put in overtime, they have to ask my wife, not me. John, for those white label monthly packs, not clear on the timeline for those or how long it takes to run for. It runs for 30 days. Any of our SEO packages are for 30 days. When you buy one of them, you're going to get an onboarding sheet. After you get an onboarding sheet, you're going to be requested to get an onboarding call. Once you get that onboarding call, we start. Then it's going to start and it's going to go for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, it auto renews. Once it auto renews, we then send you a link and say, hey, book your follow-up monthly SEO report call. You're to book your follow-up SEO monthly report call. Why? So we can go over your successes and what we're going to do for the next 30 days. Right? Or if you have any concerns and stuff like that. Glenn, that's awesome. Appreciate it. Jeff, Dream Team. Jeff lives in Manila. Jeff can tell you how hard it is to find a VA in Manila if you want to know. He's tried to find them and it's hard as shit. Anymore. It used to, you could literally drop an ad and get 200 applicants, and it's not like that anymore. So, let's see. UK people, I also give up. It's an attitude thing. Same thing happens. Money, Western Union stops. So Jeff used to get money via Western Union, and they started doing the same thing. Where are you getting this money from? Everything. How long does onboarding take from when we sign up for a VA? Sounds like you go out and start finding someone. Generally speaking, we already have a lineup. We already have people lined up and registered. So we have, if you will, on top of it, we do have some IT schools that we're in connection with in Deval. So Jeff Veal, staff needs a bank account, and with us all, staff must have BDO. We pay weekly, and new people we pay Gcash. Monthly reporting is essential. Does anyone else have any questions? Because we are done for the day. Go ahead, Greg.
No, I just want to say thank you. And thank you for come on here.
I'm gonna let Fernell talk a little bit too. I am done, but I'm gonna let Fernell talk because Fernell's supposed to be talking today, and that way he can give you all kind of a Philippine aspect of things too, instead of just my, if you will, American side of you. Give me one. Glenn, you have a new client that needs a GMB, which is they need to buy a Google My Business GMB listing, or they just need it optimized. So if you answer that one, Glenn, then I can tell you. All right, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, what sort of things do you do to help? Like, would you suggest us do help with remote VAs to get them to open up, get engaged? Some of the things that we've done, and I think it's helped, is like we're doing something for Halloween in the United States. I don't think Halloween is a thing in the Philippines, but
no, it's really not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, but the problem is we have Christmas for 3 months. So October's like Christmas, November's Christmas, December's Christmas. I mean, so
yeah.
There's really no, yeah.
Speaking of that, what type of things do you, not only get the team more to open up and be more part of the U.S. team was the first question.
Personally, what I would tell you to do is, if you at all possible, I know it's going to be hard because of COVID, I would honestly plan a trip to the Philippines. It's not that expensive for one person to come. Like, if you're the main boss and you're the main show, I would say you should fly over to the Philippines and literally take them places. Like, almost think of it like this: you're doing team building. Like, and it doesn't cost that much to actually go to most of the places here, depending on where your team's at. Where's most of your team located at?
Tagan.
It's in Davao, sir.
It's in Davao. Yeah, there's tons of shit to do in Davao.
A lot, sir.
So I would fly into Davao, do a team outing, stay for a week or so. I mean, I would tell you stay in the Philippines for at least a month, but that's just me because I like.
I don't
the
think
Philippines.
my wife with 4 kids would like.
Yeah,
that too much.
I know. I'm just saying, but I would tell you stay here for a bit. But the thing is, when you do stuff like that, you're doing team building. And then the other thing we'll do sometimes is we'll buy them lunch and stuff like that, and we'll just have lunch together. Or I'll say, hey, let's go somewhere together. As of late, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do it, but it's just really, with COVID right now, it's a pain in the ass to do anything. You got to go get this, you got to get that. And it's like, screw it. Stay in our city.
And then, so the next question is, with the holidays coming up, what sort of bonuses or whatever, like they've been on the team for 6 months. Is it tradition to do a bonus, or how do you guys do that?
They usually do at the end of the year. I forget what it's called, but they have one day.
13th month pay, sir.
Yeah, 13th month pay. There you go. It's an extra month of pay pretty much. So if you're paying them $300 a month, you give them an extra 300 or whatever. We don't really do any. I mean, we don't do any of that mainly because we're doing so much other stuff, but most other people are not doing with their VAs the way we do. I would say, depending on how much you're paying them as well, are you paying them health insurance? Are you covering health insurance? Sometimes I would also make the suggestion, why not buy them a new laptop, depending on how long they've been with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Stuff like that. Think of different things, small things go a long way, like buying chicken, pizza. I mean, believe it, ice cream, any of that stuff. They love that. They love food. Filipinos love to eat. I've never seen in my entire life, I tell my wife, I said, I've never seen people that are poor eat as much as I've ever seen Filipinos eat. I've never in my life. I said, I would think if you were poor, you would just not be able to eat. But these people, no matter what, they're still going out. Yes, for now, they're going out to the rotunda. They're going out to little places. It don't cost much to eat, but little by little, all that crap adds up. But I would just say, if you do stuff like that for them, maybe once a week, order pizza. Maybe once a week, order something. But don't do it too often, because if you do it too often, then it's kind of expected.
Yeah. So then the final question I had was, my VAs, they work partial US hours. So like, is that how, I mean, obviously that's a hard on their schedule, right? And their life and everything like that. Like, is that typical? Like, I mean, they seem fine with it. They've been doing it for 6 months, but. We
originally were going to split up. We originally started out just during the daytime, our daytime. And then we had some people working at night. And then what happened was that same thing happened. They got tired. They thought they could do it. And I've told them, said, listen, I've done it before. It ain't easy. And then now we switched everybody back to our daytime. I personally would not have VAs working during the nighttime unless for some reason, people for instance, SEO. Why in the hell do you need them do it during your daytime? There's no reason. Unless you just don't trust them. And then if you don't trust them, why do you have them working for you? I wouldn't have someone work. If I had a business in the States and I couldn't trust my employee, I'd fire them. Yeah. That'd be that simple for me. Now, if it's, let's say, article writing, you ain't got to be up when you're up. GMB posts, they don't got to be up when you're up. Nothing that we do, they have to be up when you're up. The only time I have to be up when you're up is if you're trying to give me direct login access to your GMB or your hosting account or your website, and you should never be giving any of that. You should add them as a user to your hosting so they don't have to bother you with codes and two-step verifications. You don't want to give them direct access to your GMB. You add them as a user. There's no reason that, unless you're just a control freak, that you need to have be up when they're up. You just don't. I mean, now, if you don't trust them, I would tell you get rid of them and find someone that you can trust.
No, it's not that I don't trust them. I think for me, it was just kind of with the content writers, having them to be able to join our team meetings and engage with our project manager.
Now, what I would tell you, personally, what I would tell you to do is you need to have a project manager that's in the Philippines. And then you need to have you would have a project manager in the Philippines, and your VAs answer to that Philippine project manager. That Philippine project manager communicates with your American project manager, is what I would tell you to do. If you need them there for a team meeting, how often are your team meetings?
We do a 15-minute stand-up meeting every morning.
Yeah, I'd never do that. That's just me. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I used to be, maybe it's I've had bad experiences, but most of the time I used to work in a very large hospital organization, and our meetings basically were, let's talk about what's wrong. So everybody this is wrong types of, now if it's like a 10X type meeting, pump you up type stuff, I understand. But depending on what, are you on East Coast or West Coast too, and what's your hours?
Yeah, we're central, so
yeah, that's not going to work. Central and Pacific, you're talking, half the time. Like East Coast is better, because like if it's let's say their working hours are 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. then that's your 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. So it's always going to be off. And to me, I've just never done it that way. And I've built up before, because when I first started, I had VAs that worked away from me, and that crap fell apart because I didn't have my systems in place and stuff like that. But now I have systems and everything to check. But I mean, if you have your project manager, team manager, and you want them to communicate, I would still use Slack or something to communicate with. But I don't think there's a reason per se to. I mean, you could, but personally, if it was me, I would make my American project manager be up once a week and have a meeting with them on the Philippine time versus, having your Philippine people wake up for a 15-minute call 5 days a week. This would never happen. It'd be a deal breaker, but that's me. Let's see. How are the COVID restrictions? It's not bad. You can get in. My only thing is if I fly out and I go to fly back in, I'm scared that they might not let me back in. And I have a whole family and a granddaughter over here. We'll be going over that later, Jeff, about clear instructions and how to give instructions. Out in the province, William, you don't have many COVID cases. Not really. Most of us don't travel. We're poor, so we don't travel. But then you do have people that travel. So Jeff doesn't do a 13-month pay. You can do bonuses. We also do bonuses. We also do them in different ways. Ice cream and pizza is great. What's the standard day? What's the standard pay starting in, the standard day starting time? People are up over here at 6 a.m., but we don't start work until 8 a.m., which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bambi, last question. With the white label, does one package equal one client? Yes. If you have 6 clients, you're going to need 6 packages. All right, guys, we're going to get off here. And then next week, I'm just going to let Fernell lead it and go for it. And I'll be here still, but he's going to be getting some of this in and talking to y'all. So if you got questions and stuff, just let him know. Also, once again, I dropped it in the bottom and I've also dropped it in the group. If you guys have questions, let me find it and I'll show you again. If you have questions that you want me to answer this week, and it doesn't have to be SEO related, it could be VA related or whatever. But this week, if you want me to answer questions regarding anything via video and do a video instruction or create maybe even a SOP for you guys or a spreadsheet, use the form I just dropped in the chat below, fill it out, and then drop your video ideas or questions in there, and I will make sure to do a video for you this week. And I appreciate you guys, and you guys have a great day, great weekend, and I will see you again on Monday. Be blessed.